And action. Okay, so earlier today it was announced that the annual September Direct is happening tomorrow. As is now, well, something that's done on the regular, it would seem. I shall now present my thoughts on the matter. What I think will happen, what could happen, what won't happen, things like that. Because here's the thing. Obviously, there was going to be a direct, not only because there's always a direct, but because there is, or should I say, there are enough unanswered questions to justify a direct. For which I shall get into soon. Just trying to decide where I want to park Link for now. Yeah, this should do. And of course, oh, wrong button. Ah, not again. Here somewhere, yeah, it's better. There's still the risk of being attacked by monsters, but yeah, that's better. Yeah. But I'm wasting time. On to the matter at hand. Okay, which key was it? There. I think I've switched screens now. Okay, so obviously, what's already been announced. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Super Mario RPG, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the new Princess Peach game, which is still unnamed, WarioWare Move It, Detective Pikachu Returns, Deca Police, Professor Layton and the New World of Steam, Borderlands 3, which was announced recently, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, Star Ocean, Second Story R, and Dragon Quest and the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Yeah. I mean, any of these, except maybe a Dragon Quest S3, could easily make an appearance at the Direct, even if it's just part of the sizzle reel. I mean, they did a whole Direct on its own for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, so there may not be much to say on the matter, but I doubt Nintendo would pass up on the opportunity to say something. Super Mario RPG could be there just for the sake of Electric promotion, and likewise for Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. And I mean, well, now the new Princess Peach game. Now that's the big question. Will they unveil the name of the game or more details about what the game is about? Hard to say, but I'm putting it on there. They're all the same. I mean, they could be going with a Tears of the Kingdom marketing strategy. Reveal some details, but still not the name. Yeah. WarioWare Move It, I'm sure they might be able to, and they might, do a few, and show off a few more of the activities. I mean, and with Detective Pikachu Returns, I doubt they would pass up on the opportunity to advertise this. Now, of course, now we move on to the third-party titles that have previously been announced that I put on the list. Deca Police and Professor Layton in an Underworld theme. Anyway, Deca Police, I mean, I'm told it's coming out soon, so they might reveal something, but then again, they may have revealed enough already. Professor Layton in the World's theme, on the other hand, means there's probably more to say about that, and therefore we could see something on the matter. Borderlands 3. Now, seeing as it was only just announced, we don't really have a trailer or anything for it, as far as I can tell. I mean, I didn't see anything on the Gearbox, channel, so yeah. Considering the fact that there hasn't been a trailer for it yet, means there's a good chance we could see something. I mean, not much to say on Metal Gear Solid, so yeah, I'm not counting on much being said about this. It'll probably just be in a sizzle reel. Possibly the same for Star Ocean Second Story R as well, but then again, there might be enough for it. Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Now, hard to say with this one. I'm not going to get my hopes up for this, seeing as it could be a long ways off still. I mean, this is the crown jewel of the Enix library we're talking about here. They'll probably want to take as much time as is necessary to make it the absolute best version ever made. So it might be too early still for anything, but I'm not ruling out the possibility, so I just put it at the bottom of the list. Again, I'm not guaranteeing any of these. I'm just saying that there might be a chance. Small chance for half of them, but a chance nonetheless. Again, could be a trailer, could be a sizzle reel, could just be an appearance in the Japanese Direct. Because here's the thing. If it doesn't happen in the American Direct, but does happen in the Japanese Direct, it still counts. But anyway. Next we've got the DLC that's been previously announced. I mean, they could announce something more for DLC, which I'll get to later, but for now, let's just focus on what's already been announced. Splatoon 3 Side Order was announced earlier this year, and is slated for release quite soon, actually. And yet we know hardly anything about this. I mean, if Octo expansion is anything to go by, then this particular bit of DLC is a big deal. Or, I mean, and actually saying that might be a bit of an understatement. I mean, it's practically its own separate game, merely tacked on to an existing one. So, I'd say there's an 80% chance that there's going to be a trailer for Side Order in the Direct. Now, as for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I mean, obviously there's only Wave 6 left. Will they show everything that Wave 6 is to offer? No. Forget it. However, they probably will show off a couple of tracks and most likely reveal the drivers. As for who the drivers probably are, there's a 99% chance that one of them is Diddy Kong. As for the other driver, hard to say. I mean, obviously it'll probably be someone that's, obviously, considering the pattern so far, it's most likely going to be someone who is relatively popular in modern times and was also in one or more of the Mario sports games on Nintendo Switch. Because all the drivers that, all the DLC drivers so far follow that pattern. On top of most, if not all of the ones revealed so far being ones that are rather significant and highly questioned why they were missing in the first place. I mean, come on. Kamek was supposed to be in both the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8 and in Mario Kart 64. Why did he get it cut twice? I mean, not that it matters. Water under the bridge at this point because he's in the game now. Better late than never. Now, as for which tracks I think will be there. I mean, I know I'm getting off topic, but obviously, both Roma Banti and Madrid Drive, I think. Yeah, still, either way, whatever name whatever the second word they chose is not as good as motorway for Madrid. Yeah. Either way, both Rome and Madrid will obviously be there. I mean, Piranha Plant Cove, that other new track from Tour, the one with all those pipes. And, of course, Rainbow Road Wii. Those are the top 5 that I'm guaranteeing are most likely going to be there, but there's 3 others, which means which no one can quite agree on. By the way, the only thing I can truly guarantee is that Diddy Kong will be one of the remaining 2 drivers. But enough of Mario Kart 8. Okay, so next, Amiibo. They previously announced that they were making an Amiibo for Noah and Mio from the Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So there's a small chance that they might unveil those at the Direct. However, there's one other that's a bit more of many would consider an even bigger deal. Sora. he is the only fighter in Smash to not have a have an amiibo confirmed by Sakurai himself. I mean, well, I'm not sure about historically, but as far as this game is concerned, but as far as Ultimate is concerned, Sakurai personally unveiled pretty much all the amiibo, if not all the new amiibo. And also, if I remember correctly, he said that we wouldn't be getting replacement amiibo for Zelda or Ganondorf, which it should be obvious why at this point, other than the fact that it's a bit redundant. They're already working on the ones for Tears of the Kingdom, so there wasn't room for both. Of course, I'll be going after the Tears of the Kingdom Ganondorf to fill the position of a Ganondorf amiibo. I mean, in the Tears of the Kingdom, Ganondorf is a bit of a closer match to the Ocarina of Time one compared to the Twilight Princess one. So yeah, but enough about that. I mean, of course, I previously thought that we might get an Ochi amiibo from Pikmin 4, but considering there doesn't appear to be any amiibo functionality in Pikmin 4, it's not happening. Most likely. But enough of that. Yeah. Now on to the rumored section. I mean, obviously, okay, first off, Harvest Moon 64 last year was announced specifically for Japan. But since then, Harvest Moon SNES came to Nintendo Switch Online over here, where previously it was only available in Japan. So seeing as they've sorted out the rights, sort out the US rights, then I'd say there's a good chance that they could confirm Harvest Moon 64 for over here. Of course, next in line, both Gotham Knights and Mass Effect. Both of these were leaked through ratings boards. So, for that reason, I'd say there's a chance that one or both of these could be revealed at the Direct. I mean, the Batman Arkham collection was rumored for a long time and finally came out of the woodwork, so Gotham Knights would be a sequel to that collection. And as for Mass Effect, it just follows in the pattern of the long line of, or somewhat long line of ratings boards leaks. I mean, we knew about I knew about Red Dead Redemption and Borderlands and the Batman Arkham collection for a long time as a result of such rumors. So Yeah, I suspect that, so I have a good feeling about Mass Effect being real. Of course, next in line, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes Remastered. I mean, with Metroid Prime 4 on the way, and most likely, yeah, I didn't mention it in the previously announced section because I still doubt it's going to show up at tomorrow's Direct. They're probably saving that for next year. Although, I suppose there is a small possibility at this point, but forget it. It's not, they're probably saving that. They're saving that for next year. It's next year's release. It's clearly at this point because they would have had to have done a release date reveal by now if it were happening any sooner. No, Metroid Prime 4 is clearly a 2024 release. But anyway, back to Metroid Prime Remastered. And you notice that I also listed Corruption. Now, this one is less likely to show up, but here's the thing. I suspect that we'll get 2 and 3 on the Switch eventually. We'll probably see 2 unveiled tomorrow, but hard to say when 3 will be unveiled. But 3 doesn't have traditional controls because it was it was released post GameCube and only had motion controls because as it was a Wii title strictly. And I doubt they're going to do Corruption without doing Echoes. So therefore, Echoes has to come first. And yeah, it's either, so yeah, overall, it's both of these or none of these. And I'm leaning towards both. But Prime 2 is the one that's most likely to happen. It will probably happen, and therefore will happen first, and is more likely to happen tomorrow compared to 3. But I'm not ruling out the possibility of 3 also happening. But not getting my hopes up for it happening so soon. They'll probably want to, and they might also want to spread them out. But anyway, next in line, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Paris 2024. I mean, it is about that time again, so so I'd say there's a chance that it'll probably happen. If nothing else, be announced be announced tomorrow and release, well, closer to the actual Olympic Games. Of course, there have also been rumors of a new Mario baseball game, so I figured may as well list that as well. However, as far as these 2 Mario sports games are concerned, it's one or the other. Either Olympic Games or Sluggers. they're not doing both so close together. So if one of these is happening, it's one or the other. And I'm leaning towards Olympics. But on the other hand, it's also possible that Sega lost the license for the Olympics, and therefore, or they'd be doing a Mario baseball game instead. Anyway, next in line, F-Zero AX. Now here's the thing. There have been heavy rumors of something F-Zero related. Lots of people want F-Zero GX from the GameCube, but I still say no. I still say that their Mortal is probably going to be an Arcade Archives release, or equivalent of. So therefore, F-Zero AX, not GX. AX. But I could be wrong. Of course, next in line, I've listed 3 Fire Emblem titles. First of all, Shadow Dragon and Blade of Light, which could come to Nintendo Switch Online which could come to Nintendo Switch Online over here. Of course, I specified West because it's already on the service in Japan. Has been for some time. I mean, by my calculations, there needs to be, well, a certain amount of time between when the previously unreleased title is announced, not announced, when it is sold, and when it is announced for Nintendo Switch Online. And I think the time is up. Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light went on sale at the end of towards the end of 2020. It's been about 3 years. And there is a 3-year gap between what's what I'm thinking of, Link's Awakening remake and DX on Switch Online, so that would be a decent minimum. But then again, I think the space between Star Fox 2 and I mean on the I think for Star Fox 2 there was a bit of a shorter time between when it was added to, actually, was it 2017 or 2018 that, no, 2017, so 18, yeah, only 2 years between the SNES Mini and SNES Online for that one, so yeah, either way, enough time has passed so that it could happen. Of course, they'll need something for, yeah, although actually I should probably point out, seeing as we already got a wave of NES games in for September, that does reduce the chances of any NES games being announced for Nintendo Switch Online at the Direct. So yeah, it is a bit farther down on the list. But with that said, they'll need something to accompany it in Japan. So there are two possibilities. They could release Terracia 776 on the SNES service in Japan. Or, yeah, I'm going to skip one temporarily, but Fire Emblem Gaiden could really, it could be added to yeah, Famicom Online. Of course, yeah, there has been enough time between Shadows of Valentia on 3DS and now. So it could happen. Or alternatively, they could just port Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia to the Nintendo Switch and release it everywhere, thus pushing Gaiden back even farther. So hard to say, but I've heard rumors, so I put concerning the game, so I put it down. But of course, the rumors are stronger for Genealogy of the Holy War, seeing as it is next in line. They did remasters for Shadow Dragon, New Mystery of the Emblem, and Echo Shadow of Valentia. So, therefore, Genealogy of the Holy War is next in line. Although admittedly, Mystery of the Emblem was never localized, so not sure if it counts. Either way, they could easily announce the remake for next year. But don't get your hopes up. And now the three that I put at the bottom of the list, because these three seem to have fewer legs to stand on, but start with the one that has the most. Donkey Kong. There is no Donkey Kong game that's been made specifically for Switch so far. So, there is a chance that they could announce something for Donkey Kong as Direct. But then again, that's what was said last time, as there was a Direct announced. And so far, there's still nothing. Of course, there are three possibilities for Donkey Kong. There could be a country, it could be a Donkey Kong Country entry, there could be a 3D title, or there could be a Mario vs. Donkey Kong title. Either way, it's unclear if we'll get anything for Donkey Kong in the first place. But there have been rumors, so have to mention it. Next in line, a game that has two names, so I'm not sure what to call it. Sometimes it's called Trace Memory, sometimes it's called Another Code. But I've heard rumors of a remaster of this title from the DS. And come to think of it, the second game in the series never got localized, did it? Of course, then again, this could be a third entry if the rumors are true, but either way, it's just a rumor. And of course, Xenosaga. Now, there have been rumors of Namco working on a remaster of something being made of something for Nintendo, so hard to say what it could be. But seeing as Xenosaga is technically now half owned by Nintendo through Monolith Soft, who made the game, who knows? I mean, they could do a port of that, if nothing else. But it's hard to say. Plus, there's also the question of, is it too soon after Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Either way, hard to tell. The next are the ones that have almost no legs to stand on, but I figured may as well present these series anyway. First of all, NES Remix Pack. Again, it's the 40th anniversary of the Famicom, so I don't see why they wouldn't dust this off. I mean, or then again, they could save it for next year simply so that they can have it be between the anniversary of the Famicom and the anniversary of the NES, like they did last when they first made it. But otherwise, its construction is simple. It doesn't do anything that the Switch can't do, as far as I'm aware. So, therefore, I see no reason why a NES Remix Pack wouldn't have a chance of seeing the light of day on Nintendo Switch. Of course, next in line, Advance Wars. I mean, it appears that the Way Forward remake of the first two games was received quite well, so I mean, so for that reason, and for the fact that there's been enough time for something like this to happen, I'd say there might be a chance of either a remake of Advance Wars 3 and 4, which would be Dual Strike and Black Hole Rising, if I remember correctly. And those could come in. Such remasters could come to Switch, or be announced for Switch in the future. Or alternatively, this could be the time when the pre-Advance Wars games get localized. I mean, by my calculations, there are about 5 or 6 of them in total. Three or 4 on the Game Boy, plus the original Famicom version and a Super Famicom version. So, some of these could be remade for Nintendo Switch easily enough, using borrowed assets from the previous one. Of course, I went with the placeholder title of Origins, because for the reason that is, well, this would be owing in the time before Olaf, and now, perhaps. But anyway, next in line, Tekken. There's still no Tekken on Nintendo Switch. I mean, so there, and of course, there are two candidates for the category of Tekken, which I think would be the most likely to happen. First of all, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which was available on the Wii U. I mean, they can easily bring that over. Plus, I think Pokken Tournament shares the same engine, so therefore borrow some code from the Switch port of Pokken Tournament to get Tekken Tournament and 2 on there. The other possibility, which is less likely but would be more befitting, Tekken 5. This one is not only a highly regarded title in its own right, from what I'm told, but also contains the arcade versions of 1 through 3. So therefore, by putting 5 on there, that would cover a good portion of the Tekken library. But the only problem is, last time, unless I'm mistaken, Tekken 5 only ever released on PlayStation and arcades, using PlayStation-based hardware. Tekken 1 through 3 therefore probably used the architecture of the PlayStation 2 in order to, with it being backwards compatible and all, in order to, and I'm not sure exactly how it would work, but seeing as the cabinets for 1 through 3 were closer to, or based closer to the PlayStation 1, then you probably use the architecture of the PlayStation 1's backwards compatibility chips in combination with the extra power from the PlayStation 2 in order to run the arcade versions of of Tekken 1 through 3. Now the Switch would not have that advantage and therefore would not necessarily be able to do it as effectively. So as much as Tekken 5 would be the ideal solution, unfortunately, it's not as feasible as Tekken Tag Tournament 2 is. But then again, we could just get a whole collection of Tekken games. Or it could be now said they're coming to arcade archives. There are ways to get Tekken on there. Anyway, next in line, Chrono Trigger. Most of the classic Square Enix titles from the 20th century are on Nintendo Switch. But as far as the ones that came over here, that is. I mean, we have the first 9 Final Fantasy mainline Final Fantasy titles. We have the Final Fantasy Legends trilogy, which was actually Saga. We have Final Fantasy Adventure and Secret of Mana. Yeah. We even got Live Alive localized, which doesn't really count, but yeah. I mean, we've got the first 2 Star Ocean titles, the first 3 Dragon Quest titles, the original Ogre Battle. I mean, Chrono Cross, and Front Mission. Yeah. So, therefore, Chrono Trigger is the only one that's truly missing. The biggest one that's missing. Now, there's one thing that I should probably make note of with Chrono Trigger. There is a perfectly good PC version, which not too long ago was added. It was updated to add controller support. But on the other hand, with the massive success of HD 2D, one has to bring into question, can Square Enix get away with basic ports of the originals these days? It was fine 2 years ago, but what about now? There's a high demand for an HD 2D rendition of Chrono Trigger. So I guess the question is, which one if we get Chrono Trigger, which one will it be? Will it be the adequate will it be the adequate PC version? Or will it be the grass is greener, or on the other side of the fence, HD 2D title? If it is to be announced. Which I'd say Chrono Trigger has a good chance. But one thing is sure, it ain't coming to Nintendo Switch Online. Never. The only way it's going to come to Nintendo Switch is through a port on the eShop. Anyway, next in line, Professor Layton Collection. With the upcoming release of the New World of Steam, there might be a chance that they could bring over the past Professor Layton titles. But on the other hand, I question how well it would work on something other than the Nintendo DS or a smartphone. But then again, there was that Professor Layton spin-off that was originally released for the 3DS that was made available on Nintendo Switch. I forget the name. So, therefore, there is a chance that the past Professor Layton games could be modified to work on a more traditional system. Of course, next in line, Bomberman Anniversary Collection. This is the 40th anniversary of Bomberman, so Konami could make a collection with with most of the past games. But the question is, would they? Does Konami actually care enough about Bomberman to release all the past games as a collection? Either way, it's clearly in limbo because there are no legacy Bomberman games on the Nintendo Switch eShop as far as I'm aware. And there's no Bomberman games on Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, they could change that in the future by adding the two from the N64. And of course, if they ever add TurboGrafx 16, there'll probably be some Bomberman games on there. And there's hardly any regular Game Boy games, period, on Game Boy Online, ironically. I mean, it's dominated by, that part of the service is dominated by Game Boy Color games. So eventually they'll probably add the non-color games, add non-color games in general, and therefore Bomberman could come through there, but either way, hard to say with Bomberman. But I'd say there's a chance that we could get an anniversary collection. Next in line, the mysterious Mursami Castle. I mean, this is one of the biggest NES games to be missing from Nintendo Switch Online. But again, it's been established that they already did a batch of Nintendo Switch Online games for this month. I mean NES games. So, unless they're announcing it for October, it might be a bit. It may not happen this time. Now with this one, which I'll probably butcher it, but Shin Onigashima. Yeah. This one is mysteriously absent from Famicom Online. But yet Nintendo clearly hasn't forgotten about it because they put a reference to Shin Onigashima in Pikmin 4. So though they could just straight up put it on Famicom Online, which admittedly they could do easily enough, seeing as there was no Famicom Online update this month, only NES. And it was all stuff for over here in that wave. So they could do that. Or there's also a possibility that they're working on a remake, which, if that is the case, then that means that it would be at it would be a chance to have it localized. So there's a chance, but not a very high one. Anyway, next in line, Half-Life and Team Fortress 2. In the Portal Companion Collection did seem to do quite well on Nintendo Switch, so therefore, maybe the next step would be to... therefore, maybe they could put Half-Life on Nintendo Switch using the same engine. I mean, there seems to be good relations with Valve. But then again, it's hard to say. Team Fortress 2, on the other hand, that one is one that was dormant for a while. I mean, despite it being as popular as ever, but did in recent times finally get an update. So seeing as Valve has remembered Team Fortress 2, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be that difficult to make it work on Nintendo Switch, especially with it being a mostly online game anyway. Because it would be relying on servers, it wouldn't really require that much RAM or processing power, and with the game being many years old, over a decade, they could easily reduce its resources enough to make it work. Or what I mean is easily optimize it enough to make it work on a Nintendo Switch. And then the final one for this category, Silent Hill Master Collection. I mean, here's the thing. They could easily use the same engine as the Metal Gear Master Collection. Easily bring over the first 3 Silent Hill games. In the original version of the first one, and the HD collections and the HD collection versions of the second and third one, and hopefully with the Comic Sans replaced. But the question is, would Konami be willing to do so, and so soon? Especially when they've clearly got their hands and they're clearly busy with Metal Gear Solid Edge titles. But then again, I guess it would be easier to get the first 3 Silent Hill games running on Nintendo Switch, and I guess likewise the rival systems as well. Then it would be easier to get those ones done in a timely manner than it would be to do 4 and 5, plus whichever titles they decide to include with those. Yeah, but anyway, that's the last of the theories for what I've got, of the theories for what I think will happen. But I've got one more category. This is a fun one. If it will scroll properly and not jump around like that. Now, this is a list of things that I strongly think strongly it will not happen at the Direct. These are all things that are not happening. First in line, a new Nintendo Switch. Forget it! Too early! In the earliest we're going to see a new Nintendo Switch will probably be sometime next year. If I had to guess, probably the Consumer Electronics Show. Which I could be which if I'm not mistaken would be, which if I had to guess would probably be no sooner than March. No, wait, actually no, that doesn't work. It would have to be after the final fiscal year for 2023. That's when they're, either way. After that, then it can talk the new Nintendo Switch. But this year, forget it. Next, GameCube Online. No. Be patient. It's not happening this year. They only just added Game Boy and Game Boy Advance to Nintendo Switch Online at the beginning of this year. So it needs to be at least a year and a half. So it needs to be at least one full year before they add something new. More likely, approximately 2 years. So therefore, they're probably not doing GameCube Online till September or October 2024. Next in line, TurboGrafx 16 Online. Also not happening. But admittedly, it does have a bit better chance of happening than GameCube Online this year. But I still doubt it. Because TurboGrafx 16, that seems like a good thing to pair up with GameCube Online. So therefore, assuming that TurboGrafx 16 is to be launched alongside GameCube, and therefore, not happening this year. Next, the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Forget it! Tears of the Kingdom has too much momentum for them to let it get upstaged by the Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. So therefore, it's likely not happening till next year. And furthermore, it'll be one or the other, one at a time. They're not doing both in one package. If we get these games, it'll be one at a time. Not bundled together like those cheapskates want. Next, Tears of the Kingdom DLC. No. Nintendo has already gone on record saying that there is no DLC for Tears of the Kingdom happening at all. They did all they wanted to do for Tears of the Kingdom, and therefore, there's no DLC. Breath of the Wild, they had ideas that didn't make it into the original version. But Tears of the Kingdom is as complete as it can be. They did everything they wanted. Next, in Fire's Pass Volume 3 for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Fat chance. Thor Limited has already returned the development kits. They're not doing it. And furthermore, there really isn't enough that they can do. There haven't been that many there haven't been that many first-party characters introduced since Smash came out. There's just not enough newcomers. I mean, Divine Dragon from Fire Emblem Engage would probably be, I suppose could happen, but I suspect would be more likely to be an echo of Corrin. Octolings would probably be either an alternate for the Inkling or an Echo Fighter. And the current Nintendo Switch would not be able to handle doing both Noah and Meo at the same time. Hence why Rex is not shown fighting alongside Pyra. No. It's just, I suspect that the re-release of the Smash Pro controller and the Smash GameCube controller and all the amiibo, that's just last chance availability before the next system comes along. Means there just isn't enough for Fire's Pass Volume 3. And besides, they need to have something for if they ever were to do something, if they ever were to do a Super Smash Bros. Game for the new Nintendo Switch. Next in line, Kid Icarus Uprising HD. I previously said that I thought there might be a chance because of what I thought Sakurai was implying on his show. However, he later clarified his words and heavily implied that there is no one working on Kid Icarus Uprising. So therefore, it is highly unlikely that Kid Icarus Uprising will be in the Direct. Even if there was someone working on it, it'd be too far out for it to be revealed at tomorrow's Direct. So, forget it. Although admittedly, I will say that Kid Icarus Uprising is ironically the most likely thing to happen on this list of things that are not happening. Next in line, Mother 3 localization. Give up already. It's not happening. Unfortunately, it just can't happen. Too many legal fears regarding the soundtrack. All because of some kangaroo lawsuit regarding a music copyright. And there's just too many compositions in Mother 3 that are too similar to music by famous musicians. And because of it being in the same style, and because of that kangaroo lawsuit, which unjustly made it so that you can't make something in the same style as another song, or else get in trouble with Mr. or I'm gonna steal music I didn't make. Unfortunately, it just can't happen. They could easily work around the issues with the dialogue, and there are enough studios that would be willing to do a remake of the game. But unfortunately, the most that'll happen, it would seem, is maybe the Japanese version on Game Boy Advance Online in a year or two. That's only because they can argue that it's been around long enough, that the untouched version has been around long enough that it's immune to infringement lawsuits. And finally, Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, or Crystal, and anything after that. Forget it! The Pokemon Company will not, at this time, let potential sales of future re-releases of these games be undermined by a Nintendo Switch Online version. And if they were willing to let, for example, red and blue, or even yellow, onto Nintendo Switch Online with there being enough time since the release of Hey You Pikachu and not what am I saying? Yeah, another thing we're never getting. Hey You Pikachu, because the current Nintendo Switch does not have microphone support, so therefore it would not work. Plus, it reviewed terribly because of the primitive, well, not primitive at the time, but still primitive voice recognition. But my point is, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, though it's been long enough since those came out, I don't think the Pokemon Company would allow sales of those to be undermined just so that the originals can appear on Nintendo Switch Online. That and possibly conflicts with the casino section. At least in Europe. Which might be why Vegas Stakes is not on SNES Online yet, but then again, they could always omit Vegas Stakes from the European version. But then again, it's probably just not time yet. Anyway, yeah. As a recap, we're not getting the reveal of a new Nintendo Switch. We're not getting GameCube Online or TurboGrafx 16 Online. We are not getting Wind Waker HD or Twilight Princess HD. We are not getting DLC for Tears of the Kingdom. We are not getting the second fighter. We're not getting a third Fighter's Pass for Earth Smash. We probably are not getting Kid Icarus Uprising in HD anytime soon. Forget about the localization of other three, and forget about any mainline Pokemon game on Nintendo Switch Online at this time. I mean, of course, I do have a decent number of things that could happen, those being ones that are heavily rumored, such as Metroid Prime 2 and a Mario Sports game, a couple third-party game favorites that are said to possibly be coming out of the woodwork, a few things that have not been announced or rumored all that heavily that could happen. Although admittedly it might be too soon for anything Advanced Wars, but then again there may have been enough time, especially if we're talking reused assets. I mean, they don't really need to remake all the tanks and infantry. And they've got enough 3D models of those from the remake of 1 and 2 for most of what they would need for for all the other games of the series, as far as I can tell. So therefore, it would be minimal. So therefore, it could happen simply because of minimal 3D modeling work required. Yeah. So, yeah. Therefore, there's a chance. Of course, there's a chance that there might be something Fire Emblem related, but then again, it might also be too soon. is considered to be about time for Donkey Kong, so therefore could happen. I'd say that there's a strong chance that they could announce at least one amiibo tomorrow, but not getting my hopes up. They're definitely, and at this point, they have to say something about both of these DLCs. And of course, all this that's already been announced previously, almost all, I mean, there's a good chance that at least something from this list will show up in some form. I mean, I highly doubt that they wouldn't at least feature one of these in a sizzle reel or something. Now, I think that's all for now. Yeah. So yeah, again, I make no guarantees about any of this. This is all speculation. Educated guesses in some cases. There is a chance for some things, but others are just out there. And of course, it's also worth noting that there's an even higher chance that there'll be something that is completely out of left field. I mean, I would have put down something for... I would have put down something for Rhythm Heaven, but seeing as last time I said that, we got a new WarioWare, I figured that's a new... I figured that a new Rhythm Heaven will probably have to wait a little while longer. Now, try to think. Anything else that could be announced? I mean, I guess they could do another random special edition system or controller. I mean, there was a third-party controller that had a figurine of a Pikmin inside shown off, so maybe they could reveal more. So maybe more of that could be revealed. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think of anything at all that I didn't think of before. Yeah. I mean, I suppose maybe maybe the Force Unleashed 2 could show up. But otherwise, nothing really comes to mind. Marvel vs. Capcom could happen, I suppose, but yeah. Either way, everything I know for a thing that... Anyway, I've already said what I think about most of what comes to mind, so there really isn't much else to say. I'm just wasting tape at this point. Yeah. Either way, I should probably stop this recording and get it onto the server. Won't have time. Obviously, I won't be editing or upscaling it. So, apologize for it being only at 720p. But then again, how many people will actually watch this anyway? Even if people do decide to click on this video, will they even watch it? I mean, they might just listen to it in podcast form. I mean, I did set the playlist as something that... I did set the playlist as something that could be found as a podcast, so... Either way, that's enough. Cut.